This is AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. First time I'm joined by Josh Taylor. How weird is that? I think 2 years I've been working for IFL. It's normally Andrew who gets you, isn't it?
Aye, nice to meet you, big man.
And you, mate. Obviously, you're back in London where you had a spectacular fight with Regis Prograis. I've just actually seen some back and forth between you and Regis the other day, I think it was. Just explain what happened there.
I think he tweeted quoted one of my tweets with a picture of me and Ramirez and me saying that the fight had to happen this year. And I think he quoted it and said, you know, the only guy that can beat these guys was something about me, the guy who beat Josh Taylor, and that's me, Regis Prograis, something like that. And you know, I had an off night and started making the excuses. You know, he knew he was beat. He knew that the better man won on the night. So I just thought it was a bit, you know, it takes away from the respect I had for him. I'm making the excuses a couple of months down the line. He had an off night and all that sort of stuff. The chances were stacked against him as soon as he touched down and all that. But yeah, he was saying he felt like the home fighter and he was so comfortable and everything like that before the fight, and you know, felt the love and all that. So he was just making excuses now, but you know, he's trying to keep himself relevant, to keep himself in the picture. And that's all it is, really. You know, it's just I just had to put my bit in and say, you know, that the better man won, and he had an off night because I made him have an off night. I made him fight the way I wanted him to fight, and he couldn't adjust to the gate. He couldn't adjust during the fight. I did a couple of times, you know, and changed the way I fought, so he couldn't do it. So the better man won.
I'm surprised about that because straight after the fight he did give you your respect and he didn't really make any excuses.
Yeah, no, he didn't give any excuses at all in the fight or the day after or anything like that. We were pretty cool, and I suppose we still are pretty cool, you know. He's a champion mindset, you know. He's a winner at heart, so obviously he's going to feel a bit bitter and a bit, you know, gutted, and you know, so he wants to get himself back in the mix. But it's not personal. It's just him trying to keep his name up there and get himself back in the mix in the big fights again.
We'll talk about the big fight soon. We'll talk more boxing, but let's mention the MTK Academy. Obviously, that's why we're here today. It's a great initiative that MTK are doing. For people who don't know, it's not just like trying to create new boxers, it's trying to create new media people, new managers, just anything to do with boxing and giving kids a bright future. It's a great incentive, isn't it, Josh?
Yeah, it's a great incentive, and yeah, it's brilliant. A brilliant setup as well, especially like for places that haven't got much going on. Through personal experience, with me growing up, there was nothing around my area for kids to get into things like this, you know. Even just get an avenue into boxing or into sports. There was nothing around unless you were in Edinburgh city centre. So having this MTK Academy, maybe kids want to go into a bit of journalism or doing things what you're doing, you know, or personal coaching or a bit of training and things like that. You know, it's giving them an avenue to get involved in the sport. So yeah, it's great. It's great.
I think it should be mentioned as well, alongside that, they actually do get education as well. So if it doesn't work out in boxing, whether you want to go into promoting, be a fighter, managing, go into media, you can actually get an education still and go another route, which is brilliant.
We're going to be doing courses and stuff like that as well. So it's great opportunities for people that want to get involved in the boxing, maybe not even be a fighter, but like you said, be a promoter or a writer or a manager or something like that, you know. From myself or a personal point of view, if I wasn't boxing, I wanted to do something like personal training and things like that, and get into coaching and think that was the kind of road I was going to go down. But I never had the kind of opportunities, and there was nothing around. I never had a way of getting into the sport, and this is giving people that chance. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so something especially in London which is really important to do, because there's a lot of crime at the moment, especially among the younger community, and it's something that could reduce that, even if it changes the life of one or two people. MTK have done their job there, but I'm sure it's going to change the life of a lot more youngsters. Yeah,
definitely. You know, because there's a lot of crime going on, like you said, knife crime and things like that, and kids going down the wrong avenues of life. You know, so yeah, it's great, and I think they want to try. I was part of a campaign, Knives Down, Gloves Up sort of thing. Yeah. And they're trying to get sort of boxing back into the school curriculum, which I think is great, you know, because then it teaches these young kids a bit of discipline, a bit of respect, a bit self-confidence and self-esteem, and treat others with respect. So I think it's a great programme that they're doing here, and hopefully it kicks off and people get behind it, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what it does.
Definitely. To be fair, London's got a lot of focus on it, but as a Scotsman yourself, how is it in Scotland in terms of like crime rates, in terms of community centres? How are the youth getting on there? Because there is so much focus on London, but I'm sure there's trouble elsewhere in the UK as well.
Yeah, everywhere. It's where I grew up was sort of the outskirts of Edinburgh, and there wasn't much going on, especially around sport. There was nothing for kids to do, nothing for people to get into and to have an interest or a hobby, and so people started getting into crime or getting up to no good and getting into trouble and things. So it's good to have this getting set up, and it's definitely going to give people opportunities and people role models for kids to look up to and see what hard work and stuff can do. And so I think it's very good. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen.
Definitely, it's a great setup from MTK, as I said. You have now signed with MTK and Top Rank. I did an interview with Tyson Fury the other day. He heard you saying you're the top dog at MTK. He says he's glad to have you on the team, but he's still the top dog at MTK.
Yeah, he is. He's the top dog. Tyson Fury is the Gypsy King, so he's still number one. But it was good to get a couple of messages from him personally, actually, once I signed the deal. And it's for someone that I look up to. It was great to get a couple of messages from. So the messages of encouragement saying, you're got a chance to make it in America now, and it was really good, really nice to hear from him.
It was a big statement actually from Top Rank and MTK signing you. Of course, MTK have got Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders, Carl Frampton, Charlie Edwards, a host of other great talent as well coming up. But to add a unified world champion, someone who's now considered top 10 pound for pound. I think you're at number 10 for sure, maybe in some lists higher as well. It's a massive statement. If you look at the stables across Top Rank and MTK, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. You've got the best fighters in the world now under Top Rank, and it was a no-brainer kind of choice for me as well. Just for the potential fights that's for me down the line. Being under Top Rank, you've got the Terence Crawford fight there, the Ramirez fight there, and they're big fights, and being under the same banner, it means that the boxing politics shouldn't get in the way, so it makes the fights easy to happen, and it was a no-brainer, for the big fights to happen for me in America to really make the most of my career for this next couple of years.
Just before we move on to that, you did fight on a matchroom bill. I know it was a WBSS that kind of put it on, but it was on Eddie's bill on Sky Sports Box Office against Regis Prograis. Did Eddie come in and try and sign you? Because I spoke to him the other day, and he basically said, not really. He had a few conversations with Cyclone, but he didn't really try and sign you. No?
I never had any conversation with Eddie myself, so the best option was out there was Top Rank, and I knew that I wanted to fight in America, and I knew that I wanted to get the Ramirez fight, chase the Ramirez fight, chase. If I come through the Ramirez fight, come through it, which I believe I will, I'll become undisputed world champion, move up to 147 and chase the bigger fights up there as well. So that's I thought that was the best route for me to go.
We know Jose Ramirez Victor Posta was off for the meantime because of the coronavirus in China. Have you heard anything about that fight still happening elsewhere?
No, I haven't really heard nothing. I know it's been postponed and the fight's still going to happen, but I'm not sure when or where. But I'll be watching closely anyway. So obviously my old foe Victor Posta is still a very live dog in that fight. I think it can be very tricky for Ramirez, but I do expect Ramirez to pull through. But it'll be tricky for a few rounds at least, definitely.
What's happening with your situation in terms of the IBF mandatory? I'm going to try and pronounce his name. Kung Song, is that it?
Kung Song, yeah.
We know Samson Boxing won the purse bid. What is the situation now? When do you expect that fight to happen, and where?
Well, we think it's still going to be happening in the UK. It's going to be happening in Scotland, hopefully, in Glasgow, around sort of April, the end of April, early May sort of time. And that's all I kind of really know about it at the minute. That's all I really know about it. So I just need to start getting my head focused on Kung Song and try and get footage of him and work on a game plan.
Now, I appreciate we can't talk about your split with Cyclone because there is a court case going on, so I'll just clarify that for the viewers. But your former trainer did put out a tweet the other day and you did respond. Did you think that was a bit bitter?
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was a bit unfair. I thought it was a little bit bitter, yeah, but is what it is, and just got to move on. It is what it is.
In terms of your training situation, we saw clips out in Dubai with you training with Ben Davison on the pads with him. Billy Joe Saunders was obviously out there as well, and then we've seen you down at Adam Booth's gym recently. Are you talking to a couple of trainers now? Many trainers? What's happening?
Yeah, well, I had a week with Ben Davison over in Dubai. I was over there with Billy Joe training. Had a week over there, trial with them. I had a really good time, you know. Bill and Ben made me feel really welcome at home. And
really, people normally say something different about Billy.
No, honestly,
really?
we had a really good time. I had a good laugh, made me feel at home. And you know, I learnt a good few things with Ben as well. Taught me a lot, and a really good coach. And I had a great time. And I've come back here and I've had a week with Adam now as well. And again, all the lads at the gym made me feel really welcome at home, and had a nice time as well. Again, learnt a few things with Adam. And again, a great coach, technically brilliant, you know. And the two coaches are kind of sort of saying the same things of where I need to improve on and what I need to do, and don't want to change my style too much, but could work on this. And it's making my job of choosing the coach a bit harder, because they are both really good, and both I would be open to working with. So I've got to have a right good hard think about it and take my time before I make my decision.
So is it likely to be one of them two, Josh?
Yeah, but at the minute, these are the only two coaches I've tried, so it's between the two at the minute, obviously. But I'm open to going and trying other coaches and going elsewhere. You know, anything that's it's going to be the best move for me. That's what I'm going to do. You know, so I've even got my eye on a couple of coaches in America that I would quite like to try as well. So I might go over there and see what happens. We just need to wait and see. It's not a decision that I'm going to jump into making, because it's a very important decision I need to make. So it's not one I'm going to jump into.
Okay. Hopefully you get your mandatory out of the way and all goes well. Then you fight the winner of Postel Ramirez for the undisputed fight. If that goes well again, is your next move going to be at 147? You're not staying at 140, are you, Josh?
Yeah, probably looks like it. I think because then I've proved I've run at the weight. I've won all the belts. I've proved that I'm number one. Got nothing else to prove. So obviously I'd have options of doing a couple of voluntary defences and things like that. But I think then, you know, I want to push on to set new goals, which would be move up in weight and challenge for world titles up at the 147, and that's what I would want to do. So most likely, if I come through and my plan goes well, then it all goes to how I planned and how I wanted to go. And then I'll be moving up to 147. Yeah.
Of course, Top Rank have a 147 pounder who's looking for fights, because most of the 147 guys are with PBC and AHMED. That fight does make sense if you were to go to 47. One of the toughest tasks in boxing, probably, Terence Crawford, but you feel you have the beating of him today, Josh? Yeah,
definitely. I've got the size for 147. I've got the strength for it, and I believe I've got the ability as well. You know, I believe in myself. I believe that I can take on any fighter that's in that opposite corner from me. I believe I can win and beat them. You know, I mean, it could be King Kong in that corner over for me. You know, it could be Godzilla. It could be anything. I believe I'm going to win that fight. You know, so that's just my mentality. I believe in myself, and I really do think if I go up to 147, I can challenge with the best.
Just finally rounding this off, it was nice to see you and Nahar Davis have a photo together. There was a lot of respect there. Of course, we know what happened before you two fought and after. Really, there was still a lot of back and forth between you after, but it's nice to see you kind of settle that, and there's no hard feelings anymore, is there, Josh?
No, not at all. You know, that was what, 2-3 years ago now. About 3 years ago. So yeah, it's all just business, you know. And him back then as well, he wanted to be an entertainer and things like that and be controversial. That's just who he was. So it's definitely not personal at all. Definitely not.
Good to hear. Listen, Josh, look forward to news on you on your mandatory. Hope you get that undisputed fight this year, and big things in 2020. All right, man.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Josh.
Cheers.
Gold Star Promotions is proud to present Floyd Money Mayweather. The man himself is coming to the UK for his UK tour, February and March 2020. For all info and tickets, goldstarpromotions.co.uk.